that's 9 p.m. Let's start the fourth Gridcoin Hangout. Let's just go by the most upvoted topic suggestion, which is the changes to the Gridcoin Community Hangout license. We switched to Creative Commons license, so anyone can kind of like download and edit these, not maliciously, hopefully, but you can do that and whatnot. We've also improved the distribution of this. I don't know if we should call it a podcast, but I guess it is. By submitting the SoundCloud RSS feed to 15, 20 different websites. So pretty much any podcasting app you've got on your phone or tablet, it should show the Gridcoin Community Hangouts if you search for it. So if you do have an app, search for Gridcoin, see if it comes up, and upvote it. Rate it high.
That's awesome.
Definitely. We'll see if it will increase our viewership. We definitely got equal amount of people listen to the third episode in like a day or two, where compared to the second episode in a week. So that might just people catching up, but the first episode had over 100 views by now, so people are listening. It's pretty good.
Wicked.
Yeah, Pepperino managed to compress the files significantly to well under a tenth of what they were previously. So we're going to be uploading them as well to alternate websites instead of just SoundCloud. So like Archive and a couple others.
Yeah, I'm going to make a Steemit post about my adventures in encoding and compression. It was fun.
Excellent. Did you were saying you compressed the audio codecs yourself or something? Not compress. I mean, put it together or whatever.
Compiled. Yeah.
Compiled. That's the word.
Yeah, I was screwing around with what compiler to work with, and then I decided this is taking too long, so I just used default, and I'm gonna install Visual Studio after this weekend and get going. I just think it'd be cool to have in the encoder, if you do like Ankspot or Mr. Question Man or something, and it says like compiled by Gridcoin special lame multi-threaded blah blah blah.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, man. It's the little things.
Yeah. That will recruit the the audio guys into Gridcoin.
Yeah, man. They'll be like, oh, these guys know what they're doing.
I saw that rabble.ca website you were talking about. I'm not sure if we apply to it because it's a Canadian podcast only, but perhaps you could apply.
Yeah.
Be like, this is a podcast I helped create,
Yeah, I figured because I'm Canadian, I'll just have like a foot in the door. We're all pretty nice to each other, so.
Shut up, you get what I mean. You suggested it in the first place. If you're like a guy from outside of Canada being like, hey, this is a Canadian podcast, bro. So yeah, I think I'll also create a Steam post basically showing what I've done to the Beyond Bitcoin community because they're hosting this Mumble server for us, and they've not done this, so we've got more exposure to a larger target audience than they do at the moment, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna make an account on that TalkShoe place too. They make an RSS feed as well of your stuff.
Anywhere that's free, is welcome. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Some places you have to pay, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I didn't know some of the places that you had to pay. I thought it was all just kind of like if you manage the production yourself, hey.
Mm.
But I guess they got to charge you something for serving your stuff or whatever.
It's more for like professional stuff, but we've got the primary, which is SoundCloud.
So long as it's not a pyramid scheme, okay? We'll pay for it.
Cool.
Fair enough. Should we move on to the next topic, which is the current splash screen contest? I'll put a link to that in the chat. So we've had about 10, 15 splash image entries at the moment. So we'll give it like another, week, do you say? And then we'll put it all up to vote. There's a prize of 1,000 Gridcoin for first place, 500 for second, and 250 for third place. So there's some Gridcoin going about if anyone's interested.
Definitely. I've already submitted one, and I'm not sure if I could submit another, and I'm not even sure what I'd make up another design of.
You can create as many as you want, man, and oh,
cool.
When it comes to the vote, we'll just have it like 1A, 2B, or whatever, you know.
I might just keep it at 1, but yeah, that's nice to know.
Yeah, if we go over too many, we'll crash the, we'll cause an error in the voting.
Now keep in mind though, like some people have already submitted like more than one, and obviously some of them we can't use because, you know, for example, it might not be usable due to copyright, or it might not be usable because of its size, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, good point. But what's important to remember is if you don't win and you prefer yours over what's being implemented, if you're compiling it on Linux, you can just replace the splash image and it will use what you give it.
Yeah.
So anyone listening, you've got another week to enter. It's just a little bit of image design, graphics design even.
Yeah, a week from August 27th.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The third topic of discussion is the current poll for whether or not SSL encryption should be mandatory for whitelisted projects. I'll link that in the chat again.
The poll's up.
The poll has been up for about a week now. I raised it. I raised it on Monday after we all talked about it in the last episode. So I've not got a current list of how many people have voted. You probably check it out on Red Research Corp. But it looked like it was going to pass in favor. So it's got another week after the recording of this that you can vote. And I'd urge anyone that's listening to please participate in the poll, even if you've not got a large voting weight. Every little helps, you know. That's what we need to do. We need to really drive up voting participation, because in the past we've only really had up to a fifth maximum vote weight participation.
For me, I felt like the votes were kind of like an inside kind of thing. Like it feels like you want it to leave it to people that know what the hell they're talking about or something. I don't know. That was just my perception of it. Till like I understood more about Gridcoin. Period.
Yeah, fair enough. If you don't want to participate because you don't know which way you want to vote, you can definitely abstain from voting. Though voting in some of the less formal polls in the future would be encouraged, just so you get used to the process for voting in the future on important topics. You know. Neurominer, is there any update of people getting in contact with you?
Nope, none at all. The only thing I have on that is the SR base admin is I don't know if we talked about this already on chat, but he's going to implement Let's Encrypt. He's just waiting until he has some time to be able to do it and take down the server if he has to reboot it or whatever. So,
yeah, fair enough.
So it sounds like he's on board to do SSL. So
good job.
If there's projects that don't want to, I already know of one that will replace them.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there an example that has already occurred where an attack where SSL would prevent, or is this just strictly precautionary at this point?
It's just prevention at the moment. I mean, you wouldn't know that a man-in-the-middle attack has occurred until, potentially another account that you use with the same password gets hacked, and that's widespread. You know, they could keep quiet about it. It could have happened in the past with these projects. You don't know. I mean, I know my country's implementing extreme levels of, surveillance laws, which is frightening, and potentially puts tens of thousands of government workers in a position to man-in-the-middle attack SSL. Never mind non-SSL traffic. And I know that's probably the case in many of our countries. But I mean, fair enough. We don't really have to worry about state-sponsored attacks or anything. But at the same time, the NSA's hacking tools have been leaked and they're up for auction. So you don't know that some script kiddie's going to have man-in-the-middle capabilities in the future.
I guess it's for me, it's a question of risk versus reward. As far as like if SSL becomes mandatory, are a lot of really popular projects going to drop off?
There's probably about 5 that haven't been that haven't got back to us. There's about 3 or 4 that have got back to us saying, yeah, this is something we're looking into soon. I know one, I think it was Climate Prediction, was saying, yeah, it's on our list, but is at the back of the queue of an entire entire site safety inspection. So that's not going to happen for another year or something. So we should definitely vote on an individual basis. If we are going to remove projects based on this, rather than a big blanket vote in case it was to, if users didn't realize what the implication of their vote was going to have. But I mean, in terms of risk versus reward, the risk is that perhaps you mess up your Apache configuration and you have a bit of extra downtime, or human error comes into play and you break your server. But we were talking about potentially creating tutorials of how to implement SSL across the several different methods of creating Boinc servers, which are through Docker, through the AWS virtual machine. I think there's a virtual box image, and just from scratch compiling it yourself. So if we do that, that's going to be something that will aid SSL implementation in new projects in the future, as well as current projects.
Custom Miner, that's an extremely good idea, because I think that would probably push them to actually put SSL on, because at this moment in time, if you look out there and just simply check domains of various sites that you use, you'd be surprised how many don't have SSL.
I don't mind websites that don't have SSL if it's a blank page that doesn't have any user functionality. But we're talking about websites that have got tens of thousands of users, and these accounts are also used on Boinc Stats, which uses the same account password for all other Boinc projects. So it's there's more risk for the entire Boinc community by not implementing SSL in the first place.
And it could be tied to their real email too, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're reusing passwords, username and passwords, that could snowball. If they get a list of usernames and passwords, they just put that in a bot to test all the main websites. And if they get your email, then they've got everything.
Yep.
So did I hear correctly that we're also going to vote on individual projects, whether or not to remove them?
Yeah, sorry, I saw Startail was talking about that in the chat. Basically, this poll is just to get a clear message out there whether or not the community wants to, enforce SSL. And then after it's passed or not, we'll decide on an individual basis where or not projects will be, removed from the whitelist. This will give, individual project admins the chance to step up and implement it. Especially if we give them 2 weeks and then suddenly, a couple dozen people all email them on the same subject.
Why is the awareness of the security problem so low, Custom Miner? Why do you think it is?
I don't know if it's just being ignorant to the dangers of a lack of SSL, or if it's just not emphasized as a priority in the Boinc documentation. I mean, you have to go out your way to implement it yourself. It's not like the next step in the automatic Boinc installation is that your Apache server has got SSL by automatically.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. There's some admins that don't even know. One of them that I messaged was like, "Well, we don't need SSL because all our work units go through authenticators." And I was kind of like, no, I'm not talking about the work units. I'm talking about to sign into your web page, you need a login, and that's not encrypted. So, and a lot of the guys are like, I don't even know why would I need that? So I think it's it's different for every project. It's not like one reason for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people don't know why you would need it. Some people don't really care. So I think it touches on everything.
So it's a knowledge thing.
Yeah, I was trying to get another site that I work for to implement SSL, and I was like, yeah, for the same reasons Neurominer just outlined, and they're like, oh no, it's okay. All of our payment stuff is on HTTPS. I'm like, yeah, but you log in on HTTP, and the stuff is linked. There's mixed content, there's cross-domain stuff. This stuff can happen, man. If your login's not encrypted, then it doesn't matter if your cache is encrypted. Like your database is encrypted. You can get there anyway.
I mean, between you and the server, there could be like 15 different points of potential man in the middle. Especially if you're like on an untrusted network, like public Wi-Fi or internet in a student dorms.
Ah, yeah, they are. It's like they can read your emails.
Yep.
Or even if you're at work, they they'll sniff your packets. You're at work. They're allowed to do that in some countries.
I mean, if you're using your work computer in for Boinc without permission, then that could potentially immediately expose you. Not that I encourage the use of computers in work without permission. There's something for anyone that's listening to bear in mind.
Yeah, there are always ways for your provider to end your service because you didn't read the terms of service.
Mm.
A lot of those things, right? They're in the terms of service, and some people, they don't realize because they'd rather just get in and out real fast, make their money, and stop using the service.
Yeah. See, if it does pass and we start creating these individual polls, if anyone doesn't want a project removed from the whitelist, if that's your main project, make the effort to go into the individual project forums, contact the project admin, explain to them why you want it done. Otherwise, it's...
I'm sure. Like if we pressure them with enough numbers eventually, enough numbers, then I'm sure that they would do something about it, because they're responsible for their user base, for one, and additionally they could be doing better with their security.
Perhaps it'd be worth approaching the Boinc developers about this. Perhaps the Boinc management committee or whatever, like saying, or even just changing the documentation ourselves. Like, it's an open source website, Boinc. We could, put in the next step guides, the tutorials we make.
Yeah, and we talked about it the other day in IRC, but it's really not that hard once you know what you have to do. It's pretty simple, and like you said, the Let's Encrypt does it for you. So all you have to do is change one file in the Boinc directory.
Yeah, with the Boinc Docker, I was able to get SSL working by changing, I think, 2 files and then clicking an automatic wizard installer, which was just like enter, done, and it's done all of the Apache configuration for me. So it was pretty easy, and imagine it would probably be the same with compiled, self-compiled Boinc servers.
Yeah, the only difference is you have to change the Project Inc. File in Boinc to say that you have SSL, and if you're using virtual hosts, you also have to make an Apache change. According to the Boinc literature, I don't know if the Let's Encrypt does that for you, but that's the only 2 things you need to change according to the Boinc SSL instructions.
With the Boinc server Docker repo, I had to create an extra Apache configuration, because it automatically just comes with your domain / Boinc server, and then you don't actually have a website for the just your domain. You only have the /Boinc server exposed to the internet. So yeah, it's pretty easy. We'll get the tutorials written. Should we move on to the next topic, or does anyone have anything else to say about SSL?
No, I think we covered it. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look like that big of an issue if you really think about it. Like, who's going to steal my Boinc password? But like Pepper was saying, people reuse their accounts. They shouldn't, but they do, and it's still not. Anytime you log into something, you should have SSL. It doesn't matter if it's Tumblr or a place to post memes. It doesn't matter. You should be using. There's no reason not to use SSL anymore.
Even if you don't reuse your passwords, if your account gets compromised, they could potentially spam the forums for your account, get you banned, or even report it to the authorities if it's bad spam. So it's definitely important.
Yep, absolutely, I agree.
So let's see what happens. I think we only had it was less than a dozen, right? That were non-SSL.
Yeah.
And I think maybe 3, 4 we're going to work on it. I think at first I was worried. I was like, well, we're going to lose like 20 projects. That's going to leave us with nothing. But the more I look at it, it's stubborn projects that are going to lose out. So it's on them.
They'll come around, and I mean, it's not a permanent change to remove a project from the whitelist. If they make the change like a week after removal, they can immediately have a vote back in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if anybody knows of any projects, I'm still looking for some projects to get a hold of and see if they want to join.
Cool. Is Steve's Coins here? He's quite active on Steemit.
Nay.
Nightmare. He's talking about I'll kind of talk on his behalf. Again, come on, dude. Right. So
Have you talked to him before?
No, I'm not. I don't quite know who he is, but he seems to post quite.
He's been in chat. And he's been in here. I know that. But anyway, go on.
I don't know if he's been in Mumble during a recording, and I can't recall him being on IRC.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he has.
Oh, okay.
He's definitely been on IRC. I've seen him before.
Well, he's not here today, so I'll speak. I'll read out it for him. So his idea is to create a Gridcoin market value team, comprised of volunteers with the goal of raising the market value of Gridcoin. It's kind of it's brilliant. It would be better if he was explaining it. I'm kind of butchering his idea.
Yeah. The way that it sounds, the way that you put it, I don't like the way it sounds.
Yeah, I'd prefer community outreach or approaching companies and stuff. I've not got the goal of let's raise the value of Gridcoin.
I'd have to read his post. Yeah, I'd have to read his post in order to have a more educated opinion about this, or maybe hear it from himself. Just because it just doesn't sound good to me. Yeah,
no, I mean, at the same time, let's if we want to talk about raising the market value of Gridcoin, you have any ideas of I think it'd be really cool if we had.
There are things that can correlate into a higher market value for Gridcoin, but I can't really think of anything other than market manipulation.
No, I was thinking more along lines of getting Gridcoin added to services and stuff.
Yeah.
Coinomi has been a bit of a fail. It's been 4 months now, and 2 months since the last update.
They took our money.
Pretty much. I don't want to throw any accusations out there, but fail.
But the time speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean with.
In this space, everything moves so fast, and it's kind of inexcusable that it's taken so long for them to integrate this service, or integrate Gridcoin into their service, and they have more than a dozen coins on it already.
Yeah.
And it's not even integrated. It's at least tell us something, that give us a date. It's not just next release. If I did that as a software developer, I said it'll be in the next people would be livid.
Yeah, they're giving us the checks in the mail excuse, maybe.
Well, I've created a post on Twitter. I'll keep tweeting directly at them, and I'll post those tweets in IRC and Slack, and I'd appreciate it if you upvoted or liked them.
Definitely.
And retweeted them. Just keep the pressure up. Show that we're we remember. But back to the main topic of integrating Gridcoin into software. I think the Open Ledger integration will be good for us because it will get us onto multiple different web browser wallets, as well as free mobile wallets, and proof of sale, a point of sale system inside shops. About the same cost as Coinomi integration without the yearly server payments. So I think much better deal. Yeah.
In the wait.
Yeah, they said that it's.
I'm gonna be rubbing it in until they do it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, reading another post of Steve's Coins, he says, I asked him, just to be clear, you're not proposing a pump group, right? He said, no, the goal is to create a long-term value for the coin. The best way of doing so would be to create a utility for the coin. We need to find institutions that will accept Gridcoin as currency, as an example.
Open ledger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we've got BlockPay integration, then any place that has BlockPay in their store, which could be tens of thousands potentially, around the world, you will be able to pay with Gridcoin. So we won't have to do that outreach ourselves, trying to get individual shops to accept us. It might just be that one day we're accepted in many places without any, intervention on our behalf.
Like the Interact for cryptocurrency, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Traderman. SETI just announced that they are accepting Bitcoin. They say immediately under their Bitcoin address, they say, "Oh, email us if you want to send us alternative cryptocurrencies." It'd be cool if they did, recognize Gridcoin. Yeah, they're whitelisted.
They may as well.
Show some face, dude.
We could both use the mutual exposure, actually.
Yeah.
Being as
They've
they're like
undoubtedly seen
the
us
original
before.
Boinc project or whatever, and their usership is
For sure.
questionable
They
at
know we're
times,
here.
and their funding is in the shitter, and they're getting kicked out of all their facilities constantly and stuff. Yeah.
I'll keep up the pressure on that. Well, not pressure, keep emailing them on the, the Boinc mailing list. If we talk directly to the Boinc management committee, then we're in the face of the core developers like David Anderson, who works for SETI, So alongside that, and directly asking them to accept Gridcoin publicly, yeah, that's something we could do.
What about some charities out there? Would some charities accept Gridcoin as a donation?
That's possible, and they'd have to figure out a way to, hold it, and that means maybe they'll need help setting that up.
Oh, they could use a mobile wallet or a web wallet that we'll have soon.
Yep.
See, that might be an idea. Doing something like that, but hitting some of the charities.
Some appropriate charities, I guess, could benefit from accepting not just Gridcoin, but other alternatives.
Maybe tweet them.
Yep.
I imagine a lot of people are still wary of cryptocurrency. I mean, outside of us, who, we know what cryptocurrency is, but there's a lot of people out there that all they see is what's on the news, and it's all drug dealers and hackers. So I think there's a stigma still out there with cryptocurrency that we have to get over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's where the tie-up has to come with Boinc. You see, that's where the tie-up stands with things like charities.
Yep. A lot of people don't realize that there's a huge computing space behind cryptocurrency, and a lot of the time it just gets overdwarfed by the shadow of a doubt with these bad things that happen. And a lot of people, they think that the black market economy is what props up most of it, when really that's not really true. Sure, you got people with like crypto locker and stuff that need to go out and get Bitcoin and take care of that, and but for the most part, a lot of these things are just money being changed over different hands over time. And for all we know, a lot of the money that we hold in assets and stuff has actually touched bad markets throughout time. It's changed hands in bad ways.
Yeah, so is cash though. Who knows who's held a £20 note in the past.
Oh, that's a guarantee.
Exactly what I was just saying in the chat.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what else is on there.
No, you don't.
Yeah, they all do.
Smells funny for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my $100 bill has cocaine on it. So.
Traderman was saying the Bitfinex hack probably didn't help crypto reputation either. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's probably going to continue to happen as people just lazily keep their coins on exchanges, but that'll be good for the decentralized exchanges, like BitShares or BitSquare. BitSquare is quite good, actually, if you want to be private.
Yeah, it seems a little bit more pricey than using something like, say, using not BitSquare, excuse me, BitShares and OpenLedger and stuff. That seems like it takes a little less money down.
Yeah, BitSquare does charge more, I think, but at the same time, there's not many, buy or sell offers up there, so you could put a premium up there.
That's true.
For the added anonymity of the sale,
Seller's market.
Definitely.
Yeah, with the hacks and the people keeping their money in markets and stuff, it always floors me that people don't, have the same respect for the cryptocurrency that they do with their own money. Like, you wouldn't give somebody, you're more careful with like your PIN number than you are with your email. I don't know. It's just,
well, people look at it as a bank, and it's not a bank. The bank covers your money,
yeah,
but it's not a bank, and people don't see it that way. And at the other end, when you look at it, there's people that have a lot of money in exchanges for a reason. They're doing like I don't know what's called margin lending or something like that,
Yep.
where you have to keep money in there. You don't have a choice. So I think it's a lot of different things.
Yeah, and the people that could be getting into crypto, they like to have it ain't broke mentality when it comes to holding their money and, sticking to the banks, and it's what they know, it's what they're comfortable with, and they don't like changing that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, especially my peer group.
Yes, we blame you.
damn boomers.
Specifically.
It's all my fault.
Has there been any update with regards to Bitfinex? The last thing I remember reading on the internet, it might not be accurate, was that they don't know how they were hacked, in the first place.
Yeah, conspiracies now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've heard.
We'll see some come out.
Internal.
Yeah, so they're taking like, what is it, 30% or something of that is coming from users' wallets to pay for the hack, and in return you get shares in the company, which, let's just go ahead and say, it's going to be worthless.
Yep.
So, sketch.
That's messed up.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed. I mean, it's obviously not a bank, but if they get hacked, they should not be able to take my money that didn't get stolen.
Yeah.
The people that didn't get any money stolen are having their money taken to pay for the hack.
Quite frankly, I don't know how their security was, but, if you think about it, they could have had some measures in place in order to have, secured assets on the side in terms of having cold assets, like cold offline shit, so that they don't lose their pants and everyone else's.
Yeah.
Weren't they giving out shares in their parent company to all the
Yeah, I don't think
holders?
They did. They didn't. Yeah, they had, the way that it worked, it was pretty crazy. Like, how they had it was they had a multi-sig wallet, but they're not sure how someone was able to get past the multi-sig. It was a thing. I started reading on it, and then I just gave up because I had other things to do. But it's pretty interesting to see. I hope they find out, at least if it's not an inside job, explain how it happened, because I'm really curious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the argument throughout the whole thing, is whether they had cold storage or not.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Hope they implemented SSL.
Yes, it's a bad omen for all those who don't use it.
All right, should we move on to the next topic of discussion then? All right, so yeah, we've got
well, it's either an inside job or
was
someone sitting in their network for a long time.
Hangout, so I created a intro music song contest,
and it's more likely it was internal.
We're giving away some Gridcoin to the top 3 entries. Thus far, we've had no entries, but if anyone's listening, there's an open contest. I think we'll maybe put the deadline to 2 weeks after the first submission, so that we're not, just rewarding to one individual. But the general gist is it can be pretty much anything, and keep it to a max of 15 seconds if you're interested, guys. I think the current giveaway is 5,000 Gridcoin for the first place, but All right, let's move on. All right, yeah, so just a bit of news. We've created a project subforum in CryptoCoin Talk, which have got individual projects with their own threads. So there's about, 28 threads at the moment. I need to create another couple for ones I missed out. I think I missed out Atlas and maybe Moo Wrap. I could do that immediately after this hangout. But yeah, basically it keeps all the details of their current whitelist status, their SSL rating in the one individual place. And anyone listening, please use that if you're having any questions, have any questions that are related to individual projects and that. All right, moving on. Oh yeah, okay, right. So has anyone read that recent PDF called Bark, the Boinc volunteer cluster manager for Apache Spark?
Yeah, I read it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll put a link to the Steemit post. So basically, these guys, I think it's 4 guys, have created for their university project. I'll quickly open it and get their names. So Thomas Delacour, John Weir, Sedim Fialar, sorry if I'm butchering your name, guys, and Professor Boon Tao Lu have created this platform. It's not open source at the moment. I don't think you can get the files anywhere. They might be keeping it to themselves, but this is they are the Department of CIS.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
They got pricing.
This is released 2015, 2016, so this is very recent.
Yeah, I've actually emailed those guys. I emailed those guys maybe a day or two ago, just to get in contact with them and let them know about Gridcoin, since it fit pretty well in with what they got. So
yeah, I mean, if they open source this, then you could potentially create your own Apache Spark cloud through Boinc, and it looks like they've got it pretty sussed out.
So it is already implemented, and it's just a question how they will release it and everything.
Yeah.
I think they've got the full working product, and it's just in a private server at the moment. If you click the...
They have a starting tier that you can sign up for free with, apparently.
Check out that poster PDF I just linked. It kind of explains how it all works. Oh, are you looking at the Databricks? That's completely different. That's an example of a commercial Apache Spark website. That's not the Boinc Bark project. So it's just to give you a rough estimate of how much the current market is charging for these kind of resources. I mean, potentially, even if you could undercut them by like 50%, then you're saving the end user a ton of money, and you're potentially generating a ton of revenue for Boinc volunteers. Well, I guess they wouldn't be called volunteers anymore, workers.
Citizen scientists.
So, Neuron, when you contacted them, did you tell them about Gridcoin and that this might enable them to get a lot of miners?
Yeah, and Neurominers emailed them. I'll probably email them as well.
So this looks pretty cool.
I think this project is genius because a lot of the big data stuff, which is growing rapidly, is now working on Spark. And if you can just give them a Spark job and then they give you a possibility to distribute this to Boinc workers, that's genius. That's pretty much what we have been looking for in a commercial project. So if they also have the problem that do not have Boinc volunteers, this would fit together perfectly.
I think the question was that you've emailed them, yes?
Yeah, I emailed them. I think it was Thursday. Haven't got anything back yet, but I'll give them a couple of days and see. I think this is a perfect use for Gridcoin. With crunching big data I can see this would just explode. So being on the ground floor would be great for us.
How did you mention Gridcoin? To what extent did you say about us?
I mentioned that Gridcoin rewards, how it works now, rewards for working in Boinc, so running Boinc projects, completing work units rewards you in an X amount of MAG, which correlates to a certain amount of Gridcoin that you will receive, depending on the work you do. So essentially, as the work you do pays you.
Excellent. I think I'm going to follow up with a similar email and maybe edit their poster to show where, like, you know, Gridcoin could fit in. You know, like a paywall between the web UI and the Spark job would pretty much facilitate a commercial Boinc project.
Exactly, and the possibility that you pay extra money, which then gets project range onto the people who run it, so that it's worth, they are more encouraged to run it and stuff like that, because they already mentioned this web UI, and this would really just fit in perfectly.
Yeah, I'm really positive about this. This is great.
It looks very, very interesting.
I was thinking of something similar with Google's TensorFlow for machine intelligence. But that's just an idea. It's not as fully fledged as this. This looks like this is operational. It'd be really cool if we could get them on here and discuss it, you know? The admin for VLHC at home emailed me recently, just basically saying, in response to the Boinc governance changes kind of chase up, you know, which was inviting the Boinc management committee to these hangouts. So it's possible that we could get him on here in the following couple of weeks' time. If anyone wants that, that could be quite interesting.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Cool. I'll email him tonight about that then.
So is there anything else we can do at the moment about the Bark project? You sent them on another email, but otherwise I think we just have to wait and hope.
Yeah, just maybe send a couple emails, wait, and follow up every like week or so or something. I've been posting links to the Bark presentation to, you know, Apache Spark related communities like /r Apache Spark and stuff. So giving them a bit of exposure at the same time, just in the meantime. All right, we've not got many topics of discussion proposed this week, but we can go back to previous, you know, threads to discuss topics. So the last topic suggestion was an update regarding my Project Rain Boinc project. Is anyone interested in hearing about this?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, cool. So I've been working on this week. I've been working on the front end recently, just trying to get it looking nice. I managed to successfully integrate about 15 different cryptocurrencies in the back end. I had introduced a couple glitches in the account creation phase, which I just completely removed that, and it just started working. So didn't need to get fancy and set it up or whatever. So I've managed to get. It's just it is a bit clunky how these you know, the Boinc project is initially created. You know, you'll go into the sample index page and it's like a PHP echoing little chunks of HTML. So it's like, where is everything? It's a bit all over the place. So it's kind of slowed me down a bit, and also the fact that I'm not brilliant with Docker. I've been watching a few video tutorials on Pluralsight to do with Docker so that I can get up to speed with it. But currently, in order to view any change I've made to the Boinc project server, I have to like completely rebuild the Docker image on a local computer, which takes like 10 minutes. So it's kind of like a slow incremental changes before I notice, crap, eventually it's a new bug, you know, whatever. But hopefully I'll be able to get that public in the next week or two. The final remaining changes that I need to make are, well, I can get the Boinc project up and running, but then I have to get all the tutorials working properly. So, you know, currently in order to Project Rain, you have to extract all the XML files from individual projects and the address XML from my server, you know, and then you take all those files and you mash it into MariaDB, and then you extract like all the data you need in the one file to then interpret for your specific cryptocurrency of choice. So I'll get the MariaDB section done, and then it's just a matter of chasing up exactly how to create manual transactions in each of these different cryptocurrency systems. And before I can make the Boinc server go live, I have to look into configuring the PHP mail server. So like if you forget your password or whatever, I've got to send an email reminder to you. I've got to finalize SSL and get it as high security as possible. And I've got to implement CAPTCHA, and that's just a simple change. And I've got a couple issues to raise on the Boinc server Docker, repo, just regarding the HT access password generation. It's like the same across all, it's like set statically in the repo, and I'm not able to get to the kind of Boinc admin panel. So once I manage to get across that and then test that, you can recover your password or whatever, I'll go live with it. Does anyone have any questions regarding it? Do you want me to explain what kind of Project Rain is?
Does it have SSL?
It will do. In its current state, it does not, because if you continuously, request new SSL certs from Let's Encrypt, they'll get angry and block you or whatever. So I've done it in the past, and I'll do it when it's going live.
Will the project have to be whitelisted?
No, I'm not going to be chasing a whitelist status purely because there's no work units for the project. You won't have a score. Everyone's going to have a 0 score. The only thing it facilitates is matching your CPID to external cryptocurrency systems or platforms even. So no, I won't be going for a whitelist status.
Yeah, on the issue of SSL, did we get our main site sorted out with the TLS 1.2 goodness? Or did you make a GitHub issue about that? I thought you were going to.
I made a GitHub issue for the... Oh no, there was already a GitHub issue for the download of the MSI being over HTTP instead of HTTPS.
Oh well.
The rest of the site is fully SSL, but that's an issue that Rob will have to fix. So, what specifically is the issue? Can you make an issue on GitHub with your concerns? Because at the moment it's like I'm at 90% of all the issues in GitHub. Rob's probably hating me.
Yeah.
So I'm super criticism,
Oh, that's cool. I'll stick to the pull requests. You can be the annoying one.
Yeah, sure.
Question: is the superblock fixed?
I believe it was broken on Saturday. Last time we all spoke in the third episode, and then I think it was the following day it reverted itself. And I think in the time between then and now, users have been potentially their neural networks haven't fully synced, and they might be encountering similar issues or different issues. Some of the users that have encountered, I've suddenly got 0 mag, or I've only got the one project in the whitelist, if they run the execute sync dpor2 command, then it fixes it. So to be honest, I'm not sure if it's occurred again. We really need to kind of work on having superblock kind of comparison, or I was thinking of I think there's a command to list the current enforced neural hash and then all the reported neural hashes from the network. So I could extract that from each of my full nodes and display that on grcnode.co.uk. So you can have a comparison of what's enforced, and then you can grab your hash and see, all right, I'm on the wrong hash. I got to sync my neural network. In the meantime, if you are having issues with your neural network that are similar to the issues we experienced on Saturday, last Saturday, which specifically only 3 projects were included in a super block. If you encounter that again, please report that to GitHub issue that's related to that topic. You know, it's I think it's the super block issue. Yeah. That good?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. I know mine was having the same thing. It showed a mag on the overview of 800, but the neural network showed correct, whatever it's supposed to be. So something janky happened, and syncing the neural network fixed it. So
Mercosity, yeah, it's fine. We talked about it last Saturday. It's no big deal. Let's be transparent about it. You know, it's something that's affected the entire network.
Okay.
Let's do it live.
What about that block stack thing? Should we revisit that kind of idea? Maybe that would keep the network more stable, or what was the problem with that again?
But Blockstack was the problem with implementing Blockstack in the first place was that they were having an internal they were moving components of libraries around, so it was kind of, if we had started porting it to Gridcoin, then we would be kind of frozen in time on an old version. So I was waiting for them to move blockchain-facing logic to the Blockstack virtual chain repo, which basically Blockstack virtual chain is an external app that will look at every single block and parse all the transactions, just indexes them, and then chucks all the op return transactions. Op return transactions are transactions with data added on. So you'll build up a blockchain of just these op return transactions, to which we could we could have an improved voting mechanism potentially, or more it's an external program, so it's kind of like you can interpret stuff from the blockchain easier, so you're not entirely relying on the Grid Research Corp. You could do your own analysis of the recent poll if you're if you think, I don't think that was an accurate poll, let me investigate.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing around with it a bit. It was pretty confusing because I didn't have an account set up, but I'm sure it'd be a lot more fun with one.
Regarding its current status, it was I created an issue, basically, requesting Gridcoin support, or asking what would we need to do to get added, and are you currently, finished moving blockchain-facing logic around? And I've not had any reply yet, so I could jump in their Slack channel and point them to the issue and just kind of ask the developers directly, hey, what's going on. I believe one of the main things that we would find difficult would be they need a blockchain explorer that has the capability to create transactions. So that's something that there's several Bitcoin blockchain explorers that allow you to push transactions from their website. So that's something we'd need to potentially investigate.
Okay.
I've been tracking recently on the topic of op return data and whatnot. We've currently got the 6-month limit on your beacon validity, and I think it's also the same for the whitelist. We had that glitch a couple months ago where suddenly all the projects weren't on the whitelist; they were all removed, and that was the problem. There was the beacon that created all their place on the whitelist expired. So I think there's currently a look back kind of system where the client looks back through last 6 months worth of blocks for your registration transaction for, say, your advertised beacon or your neural network whitelist transaction, like registration transaction. Sorry, I'm getting a bit confused here. Yeah, so basically the idea is that instead of looking back these 6 months, what if we sent these registration transactions to a burn address that we could monitor from our client? Rob has integrated like 90% of the up return, functionality from Bitcoin earlier this year when I was looking into the advertising your own custom beacons, before I moved on to making the Boinc server. The advantage of this is that instead of looking back 6 months worth of blocks, you could just look up what's this one address and cool, there's all these transactions, and you wouldn't then need to have to re-register your beacon. It would be a permanent kind of thing.
That would be nice.
There's only one commit left that we need to integrate, and that's allowing you to add a watch address that isn't yours. And then once we've got that, we could possibly improve Gridcoin's efficiency. You wouldn't be looking back 6 months worth of blocks for who's on the network, neural network, and what projects are valid.
That's pretty nice.
That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, does anyone? We kind of tangented off from talking about the Project Rain server. Does anyone have any questions about it? Or one thing I've been thinking about recently is I've only added second gen crypto platforms as alongside Gridcoin and Steam, right? These platforms being ones that you can issue new assets on, right? So you're not like creating dust on the Bitcoin platform. If you rained a single Bitcoin, you would create spam effectively on their network. Do you think we should extend it to some of the other main cryptocurrencies that don't have these second gen functionalities, or do you think we should make a stand?
I think personally, start small and expand if there's need for it or if there's questions about it. I've learned that you try to go big at the beginning, you end up with a lot of problems, especially if nobody's going to use those extra coins that you have to troubleshoot.
Yeah,
that's just my personal opinion.
Well, it's just the fact that I'm not quite sure how, because I'm not brilliant with Docker, I'm not sure how the upgrade process would go. If I wanted to change like the database as well as all the PHP files. I prefer to have it set in stone from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. And you're using Boinc to Docker? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has the database. So he loads the database. If I remember correctly, I haven't looked at it in about a week or two, but he loads the database from a persistent volume, right?
Mm.
And it's recreated on every time you deploy. If I remember correctly, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I need to do more studying into Docker, guys.
Me too.
It's something.
It's awesome once you get the hang of it. It's actually really awesome once you get the hang of it. It'll make everything so much easier, but it's learning how to use it first.
Yeah, definitely. I'm more used to normal virtualization, with VMware or whatever. That thread that I sent you, NeuralMiner, regarding the different types of Docker operating systems you can use. If you, what's your perspective on these? Do you think running the Boinc server on one of them would improve security, or do you think it's just maybe a bit more efficient, or do you think it's necessary?
I honestly don't think it's necessary. I looked at CoreOS, and I love CoreOS because from a business perspective, it'd be perfect. You could, it brings up servers automatically if they go down, but that's not something you really need with a Boinc server. Atomic, it's kind of the same thing. I wouldn't see really the need for Atomic or CoreOS for a Boinc server, unless you're something huge like SETI, where they probably do already have a bunch of servers and you want them to be up all the time. I mean, especially for a small project where something like Project Rain, it can be down for an hour. No one will probably even notice. I wouldn't invest the time getting that working unless it's a feature you really want. I wouldn't bother because you gotta. It's another layer on top of Docker you got to learn essentially.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm getting ahead of myself,
Yeah.
Just enthusiastic.
No, it's once you get started, it's super cool. But it's really cool technology, and especially the core OS how it works is really cool. But I think it's a little bit of overkill, at least for right now. It's always something that Docker containers are so easy and they're so portable that, and it's already Core OS uses the Docker containers that if you at a later time want to do it, boom, you can just do it. You don't have to rebuild the server or anything like that. You just push the container to the Core OS. It wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, true. The migration would be difficult.
Yeah, right.
It'd be cool to have a Docker Boinc computation environment rather than just for the server. That could potentially increase security. I was looking at Project Atomic for that. That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, actually, that's what I thought the Boinc Docker server was when I posted it. I got all excited. I was like, holy shit, the Boinc and Docker. And then, oh, server.
There is a Boinc container for a Boinc Docker container, so you can do it. I've just never done it, and I think it might be old, but you can certainly make one yourself. It's not too difficult. He says, only having used Docker for a week. Cool. Does anyone have any topics to raise this week, or do you want to discuss anything from prior weeks?
Cool. I could add to the splash screen contest. One of the ideas I had was including the unlock wallet on the splash, so you don't see any of the contents of the wallet until you unlock it, so people can't sift through your shit.
Good idea.
So kind of like a privacy screen.
Yeah. So while it's loading, even, and you got time to unlock it and chill out.
We should maybe make a wish list thread. I think there used to be one, but it's quite old now.
That's a good idea.
Sure.
Very good idea.
And to add on to the splash screen, I'll meet your prize, so we can double it up to 2,000 first, 1,000 second.
Cool, excellent, man. Thanks.
Boom.
You hear it there, guys? There's
throwing it down.
Double bounty for just a splash image, guys. Come on.
Jeez, I'm going to win lots of money.
Oh yeah, I should spam the source files there.
The biggest issue, honestly, I think would be, well, not the biggest issue, but I think a main issue should just be cleaning up the wallet. It's just, I spent some time looking at other wallets. They look so clean, so kind of easy. And Gridcoin's wallet, functional. It works for me. And if you know what you're doing, it's great. But it's not very good for someone who is not a techie or is a newbie. It's just not clean to me. I think the wallet really needs to be redone.
Simplicity.
Make it, follow material design or whatever you want to do, but make something simple. Clean up the colors, maybe not use so much green and blacks, just, stick to one color. And I don't know. I feel like the wallet just doesn't look, if you were to, put up wallets of all the different cryptocurrencies and you see Gridcoin, would you want to use Gridcoin, or would you think, that kind of doesn't look ready for prime time? You know what I mean? That's how I'd feel against, the other wallets that are out there.
Needs more silver.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as polished, but at the same time, I was opening up new wallets for the donation page, basically for this Project Rain site, and I was getting an impression of all these different wallets, and there's a new trend of creating Chrome wallets and stuff, and they're all very aesthetic, and the Ethereum wallet had a startup wizard that you went through all the different phases, and it showed you it downloading the blocks. It didn't let you get to the client before it did it, and it was quite smart. I think there is I don't want to, the problem about, saying all this stuff is that, it's difficult not to come across as being really criticizing, really negative against Rob. You don't want to like depress him or something like that.
No.
But I agree, definitely. It's something that you could probably, again, the wish list thread, especially, see if we create the wish list thread and you've got an idea, if you can do like mock-ups and stuff. In fact, we talked about this last week, didn't we? We were talking about a mock-up GUI change thread. I didn't create that. I'll create that.
Yeah, let's do that. I definitely don't want to tell them that, I don't want them to think that I think it's crap or anything like that. It's obviously a lot of work, and to get it working it's no joke. I could never do it. But I think there's room for improvement, at least.
Well, it's kind of the same thing like with tech journalism and stuff.
Really
people that know a lot about their software aren't necessarily good at writing about it. He has a couple of design issues that we've noticed. Nobody gets everything right the first time.
It's just refinement. That's all it is, really. It's refinement.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's probably not that hard to also just download the current version of GitHub and then change, because I think the GUI stuff is not that complicated. So like easy changes, like getting out this button, putting in another button, making the layer a little bit different. I think we could also do it, not just Rob.
That's true. What is it? What is the wallet written in? Does anybody know?
C++ for some of it.
Uses Qt4 for the GUI.
Oh, okay.
And like all the advanced section, and I think maybe even some of the core functionality uses .NET, which is Rob's programming language of choice. So that's where the incompatibilities arise when installing on Linux. That functionality just doesn't work. Perhaps we could switch to Mono, but prefer it if we went to a C++ and a C++ route instead.
It could be like the Boinc manager, where you have a simple mode and an advanced mode.
Well, these are things that potentially, that the Joey guy can look into. We had a bit of an update midweek. Initially Joey was having troubles, compiling the wallet, getting Qt working and whatnot, but he managed to get it working, and Rob says he's looking into the program now, so that's kind of cool.
Awesome.
I think the main priorities when he was recruited was client stability and porting the voting over to Linux, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe that's what it was. It was the voting and maybe the neural network, maybe? I don't remember, but I know voting.
Not sure.
That was over the Linux wallet.
Anyone listening in that's got C++ programming skills, you're very welcome to join, No matter if it's...
I actually asked a guy during one of our shows. He's an old C programmer. He's like, maybe I'll sharpen up the old pen.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you find things in the strangest places.
And you were talking about, Pepper, you were talking about, your alternative client. And I was talking about potentially what if we created just the neural network in C, just that functionality,
Yeah. You're talking about, because you did that in like a bash script with Maria.
Yeah, currently my process is to download all the XML files, the compressed XML files, then just use bash to just force them into MariaDB,
Cool.
There's a risk of if someone's put in malicious code or something that would just be inserted directly into MariaDB, and mess with it. Also, the files that are like a gig plus in size, they just lock up the computer immediately if you try and import it, which is a bit of a nightmare I have to get around. Speaking of neural network and the XML files, right? Currently, we download the full XML GZ files, so we have like all the entire Boinc community's stats, not just our own team, right? We could probably scale that back if we're not going to look into removing the team requirement in the short term. Instead of pulling the entire GZ files that are potentially use up to like 2 gigs, 1.2, 2 gigs of space in your computer. Instead of that, we could maybe use 10 megs if we just downloaded the our specific team XML file. I guess that could possibly reduce the issue with the super block last Saturday. It looks like someone managed to stake a super block with only free, projects. But why did they only get those free projects in the first place? Perhaps their computer wasn't, capable of. Perhaps it ran out of space or something. It's quite inefficient, I'm saying.
So how would you get just our team's stats? Because the team's file includes all the teams, doesn't it? The one that it pulls?
Yeah, we pull. I think we pull all users instead of just all teams, kind of thing. And then we filter for our team ID. I might be butchering what's actually going on, but I know we download massive files instead of just the XML files. The Boinc web RPC documentation shows how you can specifically extract team XML. In fact, I'll link you the Project Rain site, exactly the tutorial. 2 seconds. Sorry, 2 seconds. All right, that file is the current Rain tutorial. So that's like it shows you the downloading of the files and stuff like that. And yeah, it shows you I'll give you an example for burp 2 secs. So see in the chat, there's a link to the HTML. It doesn't fully work, so you'd have to click it and then change it. But the basic gist of it is you do team email lists, team ID, and then XML equals 1, and you will be able to get your full team stats that we could use for the neural network. I was thinking, okay, so we could scale back to this and reduce the neural network size, but then if we wanted to expand it to other teams in the future, I'm not saying that we should at this very moment because it is a controversial topic, we could potentially, we potentially have it in a neural network that, okay, we look up this team ID, which is ours, but we could also look up this other team ID, and we could introduce potentially, okay, instead of just blanket including all teams, what if you had to pay to register an individual project's other team? Say we charged, I don't know, $250,000 Gridcoin. Would you be cool with adding another team to an individual project?
That's a good idea.
This is an example, but that's a way we could potentially expand not just Team Gridcoin and benefit the Gridcoin network, or financially at the same time. Does anyone have any questions about that kind of idea, like scaling back the file sizes used by the neural network, or does anyone have anything to bring up? It's an open platform.
I'm actually looking through compression methods and shell scripts to load your XMLs to Maria easier.
Sorry, what was that again?
I'm in 5 minutes ago land.
All right, go.
How close are we to finishing the SSL vote? Is it this week that it ends?
It's 1 week from I think Monday, so we've got another 9 days to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Half a fortnight.
Yeah.
Still no idea what that means.
It's better that way.
So I think it ends on the 4th of September.
So the plan after that is, what are we going to do? Should we give them one more try, or should we start the vote process?
I think just immediately creating. Sorry, if it goes one way or the other, if it does go through, we should immediately make the polls for their whitelist status, which will give them 2 weeks of potential time to amend it. To which, if you want to keep that project, you talk to that Boinc server admin.
Oh yeah, so just do vote for every single project all at the same time. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. What do you think? You think we should go about it differently? I mean, I've been chasing this up since April.
I think it's doing them all at once is the fairest way to do it. My biggest worry is people that have, let's say, like I think Karaka only does CPDN or something like that. So say you have someone that only does 2 projects and 2 of their projects are about to kick off the whitelist. They're going to lose out huge if their projects don't, add SSL. They're going to have to find a new project, start building rack. I'm wondering if some people will probably not be too happy about it.
Well, I mean, case in point, like someone in IRC was like, "Oh, when did Bitcoin Utopia get removed from the whitelist?" And they linked to a thread in Bitcoin Utopia where people are explaining what went down and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if we could do like, I think was it Faye mentioned last time, a message of the day in the wallet, or have a whitelist directly in the wallet besides having to go to the neural network to see it. Because I think a lot of people don't even know that you can go into your neural network and it shows you up-to-date whitelist.
Yeah.
So I think that would really help. But yeah, I think the fairest thing is to do them all. But I can see some people being like, well, what happened to all my projects? Where's all my mag? I'm missing 3 projects. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think that's always going to happen if they're. I think a lot of people set up their Boinc environment like they would do with a mining environment, like set up and walk away and not check it for over a week at a time. It's not caught fire, cool, sorted, and not check their income or whatever.
Yeah.
So even if we do a lot of outreach, which we will, we'll raise we'll make a big deal of it on every single platform. Talk about it at least twice in the upcoming 5th and 6th hangouts. I'll talk about it in the Beyond Bitcoin hangouts. Just get it out there. But there will still be individuals that will just miss it all.
It always happens.
Yeah.
So what about if we take because I know you are the founder of some of the team or the Gridcoin team in some projects. What if you email every user on those projects and tell them that they need to vote if they want to keep, or they need to contact their admin if they want to keep it? Because that would be the quickest way to get to every user that's crunching that project.
Yeah, we could potentially do that. The only problem is that, again, we're talking about interacting with Rob again, who's extremely busy. He's the team founder for I don't know, 25 of the projects. Yeah. Less actually, probably about 22. I'm the team founder for about 4, and I think there's 3 that are held by other users. Speaking of team founders, someone tried to did the request for team founder on Yo-Yo
again.
So yeah, but no big deal.
Yeah, then that's fine. Let's start the vote. I
think we should create the tutorials. I think in this upcoming week. You know,
good idea. Post it on their forum
so that there's no documentation.
But I think if we just throw these projects out of the whitelist, then some people will not know this and they will be angry because, oh, why doesn't it work again? I've been doing so much work, I'm not getting rewarded for it and everything. So if possible in any way, we should try to inform them before, because people feel cheated extremely easily, that they have done work which was not rewarded and everything. Then they think it's a scam or anything. And so people get angry very easy about stuff like that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe try and get Rob to email these affected users and directly But ultimately, if they're not participating in the community, if they're not checking like Reddit, Telegram, Steam, Slack, IRC, then how are we going to get that message across otherwise,
Yeah, but most people on it. We have like over 2,000 people, and most of them are not regularly on IRC or the forum or everything. They found out about Gridcoin at some point, and they still have it running. They still have Boinc running in the background, but they are not. They do not inform themselves regularly. So, and then they find out, oh, my Mac is dropped. I don't know what's going on, and maybe they just stop boinking at Gridcoin.
A lot of the pool users too that just signed up to pool because it's the easiest thing. Yeah, it's one of those things like how far can we even go? There's only so much we can do. We can really put a bat signal up to inform everyone. So, but yeah, I think we're going to have some people that aren't going to be too happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should let that take us hostage, though,
Absolutely not.
I think definitely some outreach will have to happen, and if these affected projects are ones that you do like, and you're listening today or later on in your podcast app or whatever, do try and interact with the Boinc project and that's affected. Ultimately, your security is at risk.
I'd still wait until Rob can send out something as the team founder, because then this can reach everyone, and then nobody's going to be surprised. And you can say, okay, there was a vote, this was decided, so for the moment you can no longer crunch it and get grid coins for it. Then they at least know it. And I think 1 week or 2 weeks, I don't know how long it takes Rob to do it, won't make that much of a difference.
Maybe it could take a while, though. I mean, I've emailed Rob in the past with this email marketing idea, basically asking, hey, could you send us the list of email addresses? But I guess that is like I don't know, potentially a security concern. Like, well, not so much the security concern, but it's kind of like a breaking of trust. If Rob, who's a team founder, extracts the emails, then hands it to me, who's a team founder of other projects, but not of the projects in question, then potentially that's like a breach of data protection. We could chase.
Yeah, I mean, but you could formulate the email and then drop just copy paste it and it.
Yeah, we could do that.
It could work that way.
That's the best way to do it. Create an email, general email going out to all of those, and ask Rob to cut and paste and send.
But I mean, are you going to be? Would he be able to send out this kind of an email through his normal, email client? Potentially outbound like tens of thousands of users. Perhaps he would have to look into the MailChimp or email marketing himself.
Well, we need to find out if it is possible for him to do that, and if it isn't, we may have future things that come up where we may need to do the same thing, and it may be a good idea to look into that and find out if there is a way to do it that he can very easily port into.
I guess I could raise a GitHub issue, talking directly to Rob and pointing him towards the email marketing idea, and raising the point that when these projects come up for whitelist, could you send an email out, because ultimately it is the responsibility of the team founder to carry out these team founder activities.
Yeah, especially if he agrees that an SSL is an important security concern.
Yeah, indeed.
Maybe we should look into, I mean, like we said a ton of times, he's obviously extremely busy. He's got a lot going on. I'm sure emailing isn't the top of the list. It's not even the top of my list, and I'm not as busy as he is. Look into creating a team of users that we can transfer all the founders to, and like 3 or 4 people in the community all have access, and they can all manage all the projects we have access to.
See, they're really generally admin functions, and really it shouldn't be with the dev to cover those admin functions.
Yeah, but at the same time, some users are like, "Oh, we should hand all responsibility to Rob," or who should it be? I mean, I've got 4 team founder accounts just purely because I was there first. When new projects are created, potentially an individual could seize these team founder permissions ahead of us getting there officially. That would just be a matter of chasing up the Boinc admin, though.
That's true. I mean, but there's really nothing we can do about that if that happens. I just mean taking it off Rob's plate so he doesn't have to worry about it, and then in the end, we don't have to worry about something like this where, getting a hold of him to have him send out an email. We could just have 1 to 4 people do it.
I mean, I could see the benefits behind distributing responsibility of an emailing platform, but distributing the responsibilities of team founders is quite dangerous purely because team founders have quite powerful abilities. You can kick users from the team, which immediately invalidates their CPID for that project in the neural network. So effectively, you have control over the reward mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're only talking about admin functions here, Customizer. We're not talking about any of the upper functions of a founder at all. It's taking weight off of them purely from the admin point of view.
Yeah, I get that, but in order to get the emails in the first place, you're in the same, admin panel.
Isn't there a option to add assistant admins or something inside of a Boinc? When you're the founder, you can add other admins. Isn't that an option as well? And you don't get as many permissions?
Yeah, I mean, you need to delegate.
I'm not sure if that's a thing. I could definitely check.
I want to say I read that somewhere, but I want to say I read it somewhere, but I don't know where, and I don't have any permission. So, either way, I mean, I see how it is. Yeah, I feel like there was an option to add users to help manage the team, and I believe they didn't have all the permissions as the founder, but they had some permissions to do at least some kind of administrative stuff. And if emailing is one of them, then that'd be perfect. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, even if let's say someone goes rogue, like you were saying, and deletes everyone from the team, I mean, when we had the problem with Wooprop, the reason we could kick them out, but he can just join again, right? So someone goes through and kicks me out, that's fine. I'll just join again tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. And it's just a matter of time before that admin gets taken out.
Yeah, true. I mean, potentially the problem would lie in, say he kicked you out of the team, right? So you get removed from the neural network, but then you have to wait 24 hours to get re-registered on the network, potentially. Well, although I'm not sure how far that would work. I mean, if you were valid on 10 other projects, maybe you'd stay in. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it would only apply to that one. Like, you can't kick someone out of Yo-Yo and it kicks me out of Gridcoin on a different project. I just wouldn't earn anything for Yo-Yo.
Yeah, it would be most destructive if that was your only project and you were kicked from it.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the same people would have access to every single project, so they could kick you out of there. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you can remove team admins. I'm in one of my projects that I haven't joined Team Gridcoin yet. I still have my old team founder account. I'm in the administration, and it says edit team info, member list, view change history, remove members, change founder, add remove team admins, remove team, and message board. So add remove team admins shows me edit team information, name, URL, description, country, view the team's join quit history, moderate the team forum. If any admins get email notification of moderation events and red X reports, team admins cannot change the team founder, remove members, or add or remove team admins. So maybe you can email.
There you go. They can't.
Doesn't really say.
It sounds like they get email notifications for message boards, but they may not be able to see the email list.
Yeah.
I think it might be worth chasing up this email marketing idea, with Rob, potentially working out a mutual mailing list, platform and the PO box, thing. I don't think you can, register a PO box in this country without using your real name. So, just little hurdles, you know what I mean?
Have we looked into creating a Boinc-wide team so that our team is created automatically for new Boinc projects?
That's not something we've done. We could definitely do that, though.
Yeah. It says to have this team created on all Boinc projects, current and future, make it into a Boinc-wide team. And I will put the link in chat now. Have fun.
Cool. So I just have to email David Anderson about that, and you'll kind of manually tick it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be a form, but
cool, I'll do that.
There we go. Crisis averted.
Excellent.
I don't know what it does with if that team already exists on some projects. I tried finding out, and I couldn't find anything solid on it. I don't know, does it just overwrite? You know what I mean? Is it going to overwrite all the founders on the already existing projects, or is it from now on?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Contests. I remember someone was saying that. Startail was talking about it, perhaps. I know there's a SETI and a World Community Grid contest occurring. I could look into creating another couple in a couple weeks in advance.
Yeah, I think everybody enjoyed it. We just have to make sure to hit up the admins first this time. Let them know.
Yeah, good point.
How are we doing in SETI now?
I think we're 10th place I saw last time. The problem about their SETI contest is that you have to register on their site before your stats are counted. So, they've not been advertising that very much. I'm not seeing it on /r-boinc, whatever. So they're, yeah, we're number one, but really, we're number one.
Yeah, I like the ones that are tracked on Boinc stats a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, you can't run two at a time, you have to run one at a time for a full week.
It's easy to win when only you know the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, SETI's taking an age to validate stuff as well.
Sounds like they need some Gridcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody know how SETI does validation? Do they do their own validation, or do they do wingman validation?
Not sure. I'd assume both. It's something definitely would be answerable by David Anderson if he joined us in the future. If you're listening, do please attend the next hangout. Perhaps it would be worth, sending or creating a blank template for, hey, what kind of validation you're doing, and then putting it on the individual forums, kind of like a survey kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I think you were saying you were collecting this kind of information on individual projects in the past.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I've been trying to pull it. I'll eventually get to SETI. I'm just not there yet, and I'll be able to tell how they do it when I get there. It's probably already posted in the forum somewhere anyway. I was just curious if somebody knew.
It's a bit of an overwhelming process, considering it's 29 whitelisted, and then dozens of unwhitelisted projects out there.
Yeah, it takes a while, and you got to crunch a couple projects, and you got to log into the website. You got to see what happens to the woos after you run them. Do they sit in validation or in pending? Do they go to another PC? So it takes a while, and I sometimes have to work. So.
Yeah, totally.
Looking at the SETI at Home website, they have a bunch of validator servers here.
Traderman was saying, what if we were to approach SETI with a Gridcoin sponsored competition with funds from the foundation? It's definitely something we could do, especially with the Project Rain Boinc project. If that is live alongside that, we could reward users outside of Team Gridcoin. So, that could potentially increase our recruitment rate,
It'd give us a lot of exposure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So I guess the biggest takeaway, or the only one I can think of, is we'll work on some kind of documentation for SSL for the projects. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a few things written down here. So we've got the GUI mock-up thread. We've got the wish list thread. Creating new project contests. Approaching SETI with the idea of a contest with Gridcoin, to rain on users. We've got the Boinc wide team application. And we've got investigating whether or not we can hand lesser permissions to team admins from team founders. What was that one you were just saying, NeoMiner? Sorry, I just raised my memory there.
Creating the SSL instructions for admins.
Yeah, the documentation. Excellent.
Yeah.
Also, looking through the forums here, NeuralMiner, I see that the SETI at home does require wingman validation.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. I was curious. I was more just curious.
Yeah, no problem. I just like finding things out. I can't, like, somebody asks a question, I can't help but try and answer it. So
that's probably why there's so many. Probably why there's so many work units in pending, waiting for validation. Then
that's what they say. It could take months for validation sometimes, because it depends on the results being like exactly the same. And since the results take like a day and a half to do, right? A week.
Yeah. I think how it usually works is if the two aren't the same, they go to a third wingman for validation,
up to 10.
and it's a long process.
It's up to 10.
To 10. Yeah. Well, hope Mercosity got his work units in order. Then he's gonna be there a while.
Yeah, it seems to take a long time.
Traderman was asking in the message chat box even, about talking about removing the team requirement. I've just linked my stance regarding that. I'm for removing the team requirement. The main difficulty would be to scale the neural network out. Like as I said earlier, when I'm using Bash to import these XML files into a MariaDB database, it's probably the wrong way of doing it. If you're a database admin, hit me up. Yeah, what basically I was saying is that if I'm importing these like 1 gig files, then potentially it crashes the computer. So it could, we could be overwhelming the Gridcoin client when it's already quite, inefficient, at the moment with the long load times and stuff. I say it's probably something later on in the year, like when the client's more stable, when Joey is started, delivering on improvements and stuff. Like I definitely think we should improve the voting system before we get there, and maybe chase up the 4th gen Boinc system with the Boinc management committee before we really commit to removing the team requirement. Because if we could potentially remove the team requirement, right? If we manage to scale up, we could remove the team requirement, but then we would need to consider increasing the requirements for like a neural network whitelist. So like we would have to dig into, as NeuralMiner was talking about, how do Boinc projects validate work? Like could I potentially, be in another team? Could I be in my own team, right? Getting a rewarded Gridcoin and fraudulently, earning a high magnitude, which you couldn't combat. Which the answer to that would be we got to have stricter and neural network with more insight into how individual projects work, to which we could possibly find all that out if we were to interview individual project admins in future Gridcoin hangouts, you know. Does anyone have thoughts regarding this, you know, the team requirement, you know, pro, con, for, against?
I'm pretty indifferent. I know there's some people that are pretty passionate about one way or the other. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it.
I'm the same as Neurominer at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's more hurdles than we can handle at the moment if we were to just suddenly remove it. I think, you know, if you're wanting to reward all Boinc users, then look into the Project Rain Boinc project. That's what it's built for. You know, you could spend like $5 and issue a user issued asset on BitShares against every, you know, Boinc user that registers their BitShares account. Obviously, doing that, like the user issued asset wouldn't have any value, but I was thinking about that today. You can specify the minimum, like how divisible coins are, right, on BitShares. So if you put it to, they're not divisible, so it's whole coins, you could potentially issue like a badge for participating in a contest, but as like a crypto asset, you know, to which you could then like trade badges or whatever. It's just a silly idea.
Some people like that. Some people like nothing's ever silly. Some people like those sort of things.
I do.
Well, collectibles are rare, you know.
No, it's true. Got to catch them all.
Look at Pokemon, yeah.
No, he's. I mean, he's right. Lots of people care about the badges. They care about the credits, and I mean, we've seen it in the forums that people are very passionate about that kind of thing. So maybe, you know, maybe it'll work.
There was that I was seeing there's a trading card game that uses the, you know, the blockchain. Like you have your cards as crypto assets or whatever. That would be quite interesting. Like a similar kind of thing, but for Boinc users, you know, like perhaps the higher your magnitude is, the higher likelihood of you receiving you know, one of these assets. The problem with Project Rain is that it introduces a centralized authority into the issuance of coins, right? Or issuance of assets. Whereas with Gridcoin, there's the advantage of no one is in charge. You know, there are individuals with higher permissions, like the team founders, but there isn't like, you know, I can't interrupt your payments or whatever, you know? It's all up to the discretion of the Project Rain issuer to, you know, accurately pay you.
No, I'm just saying I'm really excited to see Project Rain and how it pans out. I think it's, especially to be able to rain in other crypto assets, I think it's going to be awesome.
I think it'll be quite interesting to see how other cryptocurrency platforms react to us. I mean, I've added 2 Hyperledger projects, one of whom, both of them are, what was it, something Tooth Lake. Sky Tooth Lake is an Intel blockchain project, and then there's Fiber, which is an IBM project. So I was thinking of like hitting up World Community Grid. Like recently, they were like, "Oh, what can we do to, you know, improve our community relations or something?" And we tweeted at them, "Oh, you know, Project Rain Gridcoin on your users, but." What if we called them out like issue your own crypto asset from your own project, you know?
Yeah.
Rob is posting updates right now.
Oh yeah? Original content. Ooh.
Gotta go right first on it. Cool. 75%.
Oh, sweet. Okay, right. So I'll just read this out. So Rob has been talking about he's been working on client load time based on the GitHub issue. So that's like that issue was created in GitHub like a couple days ago. So if you've got something that's bugging you constantly with the client, create a GitHub issue. It'll increase our GitHub stats and also get the attention of Rob. So he wants to give an update on Joe, the second developer. He started programming and he was assigned a task to port the Windows voting system to Qt away from .NET. So that looks like it'll be across both Linux and Windows. That sounds cool. So he's ported 75% of it this week and he's sent screenshots and it looks good already. So he's going on vacation at the moment, so he won't be able to integrate the code for 2 weeks. So cool. That's good. So in a fortnight, we'll hopefully see an upgrade to the voting system. To which that glitch that came out with the all projects and the communication platforms, which prevented GUI users from voting, may be fixed, and perhaps the voting will be improved because Joey has got a pretty impressive resume.
So that is going to be implemented, being able to have 30 choices.
I'm not sure about the maximum question limit, but I did create an issue for that on GitHub, so it should be on Joey's attention.
Because I remember RT Minor was something maybe it was in chat about there might actually be an issue with that being in the blockchain or something like that. Am I right? It's been a couple days since he talked about it.
He's posted in the announcement thread basically saying, why did you create this? What are your ulterior motives and stuff? This you should keep it short and snappy kind of thing. I responded to him and basically said, it's just informal, just having a laugh, a goof, a gaff, and yeah, I think that you should be allowed to have 30 options in it. I mean, like that's the amount of projects that are on in the whitelist. If we potentially were to move to if we were to do the magnitude multiplier or a continuous whitelist poll, then 30 projects in a single poll wouldn't be out of the equation, And also, I don't think that all polls should be only for business, purposes. Like, fair enough, keep the foundation poll section strictly for foundation purposes and stuff. But, go ahead and create informal polls like would you prefer apples or oranges kind of thing. That's cool. Just shows off the functionality of voting within our system. I mean, not many cryptocurrency platforms have voting in their platforms,
Right.
It also gets people used to using it as well.
Definitely. I mean, fair enough. A lot of people abstain from voting in topics that they don't know, the outcome of, either option, so if you've got the option to vote in a silly poll, it gets you used to the process and it hopefully will drive up vote weight participation, of which it's been quite poor in the past, especially the fact for, important topics,
Absolutely.
Sorry, just to update you, Rob posted in response to the GitHub issue that I raised with the 30 the 30 options that caused the glitch. He says, fixing this now, happened to stumble across it today. So, yeah, there we go.
Okay, well, guess it's now a feature.
Awesome.
Hey.
On the subject of voting, we haven't really gotten any traction on the whole balance issue, have we?
The magnitude and balance vote weight balance kind of issue.
That's kind of died out, hasn't it?
I'll quickly link the issue in GitHub to everyone in chat, just to get everyone up to speed.
It's because the whales control all the media, Neurominer.
All right, there we go in the chat. So basically, the TLDR is the main vote weight type that we use for important community polls and for the foundation expenses is magnitude plus balance, where magnitude vote weight is equal to balance vote weight. So both magnitude and balance have about approximately 378 million vote weight. So my stance regarding this is that we should reduce the magnitude vote weight significantly. We were talking about the main topic where we've kind of stumbled on, is what's the correct balance. I mean, we could do the absolute minimum, which is the 30 days of proven verification, even though that's not actually how RAC is calculated, but up to a percentage, we worked out that if you were to do a full year's DPOR rewards as your vote weight, it would work out to only be like 5% versus 100% for MagV's balance, right? So that's quite unfair, but we were talking about potentially having it 70% coin versus 30% magnitude, so the magnitude would still have, quite a decent weight. I mean, the risk with having a high magnitude vote weight is that what just happened there last Saturday, that a bad super block was created, right? Where free projects suddenly had 10 times the vote weight. Fair enough. At the moment, we have a human actor that interprets the result of a poll and enforces it, right? So we've got that kind of we've got that to safety net, right? But in the event in the future that we have an automated system, right? If a bad super block goes in, suddenly someone's got an inflated voting weight, they could potentially manipulate polls,
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid concern. I just don't think that we should base how voting is done on a bug somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I think that MAG is giving way too much of a vote weight. I mean, you can tell when someone with a high MAG votes, especially with such a low voting numbers, it's over. Like that's it. It's decided.
Yeah.
And I think I was behind the 70-30. I think it's been a while since I looked. The biggest issue that I have, obviously, I don't want to pull it too far away from the MAG just because MAG is something that you have to work on every single day. Like if you stop crunching, you're done. Your vote doesn't count anymore. If I have 100,000 Gridcoin, I can vote forever with 100,000 Gridcoin. So if I earned my Gridcoin 10 years ago, I still have just as much vote as someone who is actively crunching today and is active in the project and in Gridcoin using their MAG. And I think that, the MAG should be given a good amount of weight because those are the people that are active in the community right now, and they're the ones doing the work right now. I can't use my MAG from 6 months ago to vote, but someone can use their balance that they've been holding on to for 6 months to vote. So I think MAG should be
definitely given... we do need to strike a decent balance, not nerf the crap out of magnitude so people are disheartened into not crunching anymore.
Right.
I'd say perhaps another reason, that giving a high vote weight to magnitude is difficult, risky, is that, fair enough, yes, it's expensive to maintain a high magnitude if you are doing the computation yourself. However, if you're running a pool, it's quite cheap. It's only the server costs and, fair enough, your time spent creating the pool in the first place. We've only got the one pool at the moment. Actually, technically, we've got the two because there's such flex, yeah. But say we do go ahead and we manage to get an open source pool kit out there, and suddenly we got now like 10 pools, right? Which would be great, but that would potentially give an individual a serious vote weight, to which they would have the economic incentive to vote projects out potentially, if it increases their projects' overall magnitude, which would increase their fees or whatever.
That's true, and
just wildly speculating here, though. Yeah.
No, I agree with
Go
that.
ahead,
And
sorry.
I mean, the same thing could happen. Like Such Flex is pretty high. Let's say Such Flex, they're making the most money off of. I'm just gonna say Burp. I don't know if Burp has SSL or not. And we put up a vote for Burp. They're obviously going to say no. We want to keep Burp because that's how we make the most money. They're going to have a higher mag than most users. They're going to be able to keep a non-SSL project in just by themselves if they have a high enough mag. So it does make sense with the pools. The other thing is, though, that pools will more than likely have a higher balance than regular users as well, though. Especially if, they hold on, they only pay out, let's say, once every 2 weeks or once a week or something like that. They're going to stake often. They're going to have a higher balance than someone else. So even if you take it away from mag, they're still going to, they're still going to beat out a solo user no matter where you put it. It's, 12 in one hand, dozen in the other.
Yeah, I don't think the risk of balance, vote weight on pools is as much of a concern as the vote risk for exchanges. A lot of people keep their coins in exchanges. How big is Poloniex or CSEX, their Gridcoin wallet? I mean, there has been in the past on other platforms. I know that sorry, I'm rattling on about BitShares again, but it's relevant. They had a couple exchanges, use their users' coins for voting on community topics that prevented worker proposals going through or whatever. It's not out of the question.
Yeah, that's actually I didn't actually think about exchanges because have a wallet they can vote.
Hmm.
What we're really talking about here is what I would call relative democracy.
Well,
yeah, getting it more accurate,
Yeah, and I mean, there's really nothing that we can do about something like that. I mean, we can't just blacklist certain wallets from voting. So what can we do?
Yeah, I don't think we should go down the route of trying to blacklist individual addresses or CPIDs, because that could be workaround, and it's not, it's not positive. It's kind of, let's censor who can vote, I
don't know. It's a tough one.
It's a complicated issue.
I mean, we could possibly, bring it to Rob's attention again.
Poor man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, Bow Wow Wow Max was saying in the chat there to update the snapshot. What's the process with that?
That's Rob again.
Good.
You see, delegation.
Yeah, I mean, I tried making my own snapshots, and I think the problem that I encountered, I think Neurominer fixed, was that users were extracting it, then the client would crash. It would throw up errors, and the problem was that the files were still technically owned by my user account, instead of their local user account or whatever. So I could potentially create snapshots, but I'd need to look into testing it before doing it live again, because I just kind of pushed them out live, and then people were like, it's broken my shit,
Yeah.
It's like, I did not foresee this, sorry.
How old is the snapshot?
July, I believe.
July 10th.
That's old.
Yeah, it's quite old.
And the other problem with if you go to vote, change the mag weight vote, I think that's something that maybe we should look at what the voting weight's going to be? Are we going to, like, if you're going to change the vote to take it away from MAG, obviously the people with the MAG are going to vote no. So should we do that? That's more of a, because you can change the type of vote, right? It doesn't have to be MAG balance for voting, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, should we put it to a vote? Is there overwhelming consensus to change it this way, or do you think we should put it to? We could put it to a balance only vote.
Well, then that's the people that are the balance.
If you're worried about,
then I think the people with the balance are going to vote for balance at that point. I feel like that kind of vote should be put to a quantity, not a quantity of like how many votes this way, how many votes that way. And I think that's an option. It's like MAG balance, like how many per vote, and there's one more, I think.
CPID count. We could do a couple alongside each other. Basically, have one for balance, one for MAG plus balance, and then one for CPID count, and have users vote on all three. And that way, we get to see the three different outcomes and take a more accurate reading from that. I guess
take an average across the whole thing.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because I can just create a new CPID tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I mean, CPID count could potentially be manipulated, although your CPID does have to be older than the poll length, 2 weeks. So you would have to create all the CPIDs, in advance.
Be right back.
If you were to manipulate it. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying be right back, creating some CPIDs.
Oh, yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, got it. Cool.
I think that's pretty good. I'll talk to the SR base guy again this coming week and see where he is. Because I'd like to get, if we're going to start voting out projects soon, I'd like to get some of them filled so we can stay around the 30 number. Yeah. That'd be pretty nice. I don't want to have it down to like 10 projects.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if anyone knows of new Boinc projects popping up, yeah, definitely approach them, introduce them to Gridcoin. If they're new Boinc projects, they could potentially be, they may integrate Gridcoin right away, or put a banner up or whatever.
Kind of act like we're the way it's going to be. Like, oh no, like, oh, I don't notice anybody else has stuff like that. Be like, no, like everybody's gonna follow suit. You just do it.
don't you worry. You'll assimilate soon.
Yeah. You're just the first. You're just the first one to do it. Everybody's like doing it right now.
It's not a matter of if, but when.
Get the stone rolling.
All the cool kids are on Grid.
Yeah.
No, my God, no.
Hey, kid.
Excellent. All right, let's conclude the recording of the 4th Gridcoin Hangout. It was a little bit shorter this time. We could potentially keep it snappier. I was last time I went on the Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. It says in the thread, oh yeah, it'll only be an hour long, and then 2.5 hours later, I managed to get my time to speak. So potentially, if we get a lot of interest in the Hangouts in the future, we could keep it short and snappy, be strict, have a moderator say, right, your time's up, move on, and then have like a less strict, chat afterwards or whatever.
Parliamentary procedure.
Maybe make the RSVP. Talking about that frog in the throat. There's mine. Maybe make the RSVP shit something to do related to like how long you think you're going to need to talk about something or an issue you want to raise, and have like a little more back and forth about that.
Elevator pitch.
Well, if people are proposing topics of discussion in the thread, I'd really appreciate it. Just talking to the people listening right now, I'd really appreciate it if you would attend to, talk about your pitch or whatever. I mean, it's difficult for me to, talk on your behalf and totally just butcher your. This SC coin guy. I butchered your topic of discussion for another week. So